Well, this is the video I've been waiting for. Actually getting to have a ride on this bike. I've got a few things to do before I do, but I bought it as a parts bike for another build. It turned into my main project. Been some interesting stuff along the way. If you've been following the playlist, you might have enjoyed it. If not, go and have a look. However, the cosmetics are dire. The seat is laughable, but I can sit on it, and at the moment the tank will hold fuel. So by the end of this video you should see me riding down the road on this. Let's hope it's in the sunshine. So I need to get it out of here. But before I do, I've had a load of issues with the tank so far. Every time we thought we'd got it sealed up, it leaked again. You'll see the welding that we've done on it. I think it's sealed now, so I'm still wondering about whether to put a liner in this or not. But what I'm intending to do now is just start it, run it up to temperature, just then stop it, leave it for, you know, till a few hours, come and check over, oil not leaking, that kind of thing. You know what you want. And then hopefully within the next 2 or 3 days, you'll see in the next few minutes anyway, wheel it out, go for a ride. It hasn't actually been run for a week or two, it must be perhaps more than that. And last time I ran it, I tried to drain the carbs out because the congealing petrol is a real bugger. So, first time with fuel from the stopcock. Now, I've only put about that much in, about 4 or 5 litres. So I'll put it on reserve, put the choke on, give everything a tap, just because you feel you should. Now I don't expect it to burst straight into life. If it does, that's a bonus. But let's see. Usual precautions, headphones, doors are open, fire extinguishers is to hand. But hey, let's go. Choke on, fuel on. Come on, baby. After the usual grunt and groan session I have with any bike getting it in and out of my workshop, here it is out in daylight. Now, there are probably a number of reasons I could find not to ride it, but my intention is I'm going to turn it round, start it, warm it up, and then take it for a little pootle around. Not very far, not up hills, not down hills, so that I can push it back if need be. Now, before I poodle off anywhere, better make sure it actually starts. My guess is 3rd attempt. Maybe first. attempted ride the other day, I was actually quite despondent. But in reality, there's 3 issues that I need to attend to before I do the next attempt. Which hopefully, it started raining, hopefully it'll be in another few days when it's dried off again. First one, there was a driveline noise coming from the chain. It can't be anything much, having thought about it a little bit more. I'll investigate that. I think that's something that I'll probably be able to cure. The throttle wasn't throttling as well as it could. I suspect either there's an air leak, probably not, or I adjusted the cable, but when the bike's actually warmed up, the cable's not got quite as much clearance as it needed. So I think a bit more clearance on the cable might sort that out. And there was a third thing, which was finding neutral. Well, I did know that the way I'd sorted out the gear change wasn't necessarily going to be the best, and I'd probably have to look at it again. Well, I think I need to look at it again before I have another ride. There are a couple of other things. The exhaust's horrifically loud, which does hide a lot of the other noises, to be fair. That, and I think, attend to those and I should be on another little bit of a blast. Projects are like that. You find that something happens, and you lose a bit of heart, and it's very easy to walk away, which is why so many projects end up on eBay. One that I had in the past was a Triumph, which I'd rebuilt, and engine was completely rebuilt, sat just where the camera is now, and then I spotted it was leaking oil from where the 2 crankcase halves join underneath, which, if you know anything about the Triumphs, you'd know that meant I had to take barrels off, or the head off, the barrels off, the pistons, well, I could leave the pistons, split the crankcases. It was like going right back to the start. I left that for 6 months and actually bought another one, did that in the meantime, and came back to it. Not quite that despondent yet, but bear that one in mind. So, let's crack on looking at the drive chain. Finding the driveline problem was a lot easier than I expected, because obviously you come, you spin the wheel and you're listening and looking, and in looking I spotted this. It's quite obvious the chain is touching this plate as it's going round. To my credit, I didn't actually make this cut out. I assumed that it was probably going to be okay. Never really looked at it, because I think at the time I put that plate on, the chain wasn't even on, and never looked at it again. But it's now quite obvious that when the suspension's compressing, it's touching there. So I need to get this plate off, which might be a laugh, because although it's only got 4 fasteners, they're a long way in, and it also holds on my hugger, but I'm sure I'll get it off. Make it higher. That one's fixed. And that was the most worrying problem I had. So if every other problem's as easy as that, I'm going to be a very happy man. And it's a little bit more obvious from this side as well. This plate, pretty hard to take off, and it'll be even harder to put on, I suspect. I had to loosen off the the oil tank, and my big concern is the wonderful hugger that I've made. Might be a struggle to get back in without removing the battery box, but we'll have to see. So that should, he says. There we go. A little bit of grindy now. Pretty obvious what's been happening there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll actually take this up to probably there. And I think that'll be fine. And I'm also going to take a little bit off this side, because I was a bit concerned where this goes over the stay for the rear brake. So I might take that off as well, although it doesn't appear to have touched. I think that's going to be sufficient clearance. My sawing's not at Allen Millyard level, neither is my filing, but I think that'll be absolutely fine, that. I've also filed out a little cutaway just for where the brake stay goes. It wasn't touching, it showed no signs of touching, but I'd worry about it. And while I had it off and I was doing that, I've done that. Let's get it back on. It's going to take a little bit of fiddling to get this screwed back in. So that's where it's going. It should be great. I think that's the driveline issue sorted. Now I'll have the tank off and have a look at the throttle cables. Even though the throttle does snap back okay, I do think I need a little bit of play there because there's literally none on the twist grip. So I'm just going to slacken these off, move that way, and get this a little bit slacker so that this, when I do let go of the throttle, it should shut straight away. I have tightened all of the clamps to make sure that they really secure the new manifold rubbers, so that should be sealed really well. I think that assuming that was a problem, and it did look like it might be, that I've now got enough clearance, enough play in here so that when things warm up, they still do. It only takes a little bit of pressure just to hold the throttles open that little bit. So I'm guessing that, not guessing, I'm thinking that that's going to solve that problem. We'll see when I have a next go. I knew I was going to struggle with the gear change because I just knew I was going to struggle with it. But in reality, this needs to be down here. And I think that this really wants to be at 90 degrees. Now, if I move that to 90 degrees, I think it pulls this up. So I need to look at the way these rose joints are adjusted and get it so that I think it's going to be down here. Now the problem then is this might actually knock onto that. So I'm going to whip it off, see what I can do to adjust it. Not convinced I've got this in the right place yet. And I've spent about 3 hours on it. I do need another bar. I think I need to get one that's slightly longer. And adjusting this up and down is, there's holes through here and holes on the plate that holds the arm. And they don't all line up. So you've got, multiple adjustment, but actually getting it to line up where you want it is another issue. Then I got it where it was catching on this bar, so I've bent this bar a few times, but it doesn't catch on the bar. It's not as it doesn't jerk back as good as you'd want. So we're into first, neutral. Now I think that this will, apart from first, and possibly when the engine's running, it'll just jump back anyway. But I think this will work okay. Need a longer bar, and I'm also thinking I might want to move these rear sets so that they're not quite so rear. However, having seen the issues here, I can see where there'd be problems with that. But I think for now, that problem is solved. Can get it into first, should be able to get it into neutral. Should be able to get into all the other gears, which is probably more important. After the first aborted ride, I'm intending to have another go. I sorted out the 3 main issues from the last one, which I think was finding neutral. I think the gear change is in a better place now. The throttle, I think, didn't have enough play in it, so it was hanging. So hopefully I've sorted that out, put a lot more play in it. And the final one, which was the big showstopper, was all that grinding that was coming from the chain. And I've made enough room now there that that shouldn't be an issue. So my intention is, literally, I'm going to go and get a bit of fuel to check if my tank's leaking. I've got enough in for reserve, but I do need a bit more. Then I'm going to take it on a fairly straight road, so if I have to push it back it's not so much a big deal. About 2 or 3 miles, take a few photos and come back. Let's see how successful this is. First things first though, let's see if it'll actually start. I'm sure it will. I've had the fuel on, got the choke on, ignition on, in neutral. Than it did last time. Can't say I'm not scared, I am. Still a bit flattering. I'm not sure what it is yet. Is it okay? God, it leans over a long way. Oh dear. Got one more. This one. I'm not going to put too much in it. Don't want to be storing a lot of petrol. See where have I got to? 3 litres, let's go for about 6 or 7. Seven, 3, that'll do. Not that anyone's likely to be able to nick it. Thank you very much. Bye. Hi. Found out why I couldn't find the left-hand footrest. It was folded up. It just shows you.
say it's fine adjusted. Well, I think I've definitely dropped the throttle too much. You get lovely people. Oh, come on, ladies and gentlemen. The loveliest that is. I wish you would do a runner. Oh, excellent. Wonderful. Oh, sorry.
Belter.
Eh?
I say that's a belter.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
This is only the first time it's got beyond my drive.
Oh, really?
I've had to rebuild the engine and everything. It's
Oh, it's the first time run out.
yeah, and it hasn't gone overly well.
Oh,
You know, rattling noises. I've not got the idle right. You know, it's like I can't find neutral.
Teething trouble.
If you've played about with bikes, you know, with old bikes,
yeah.
You just get them like you want and then they'll break down.
Okay. Enjoy.
Thank you, stopping. Lovely people. And it is. He said, gingerly letting the clutch out. Right. Let's keep track of what gear I think I'm in. I'm absolutely amazed. The problems you have are never the problems you actually expect. You just have to hope they're easier. I really do hope it's the case. I'm not doing something unexpected like coming off the sprocket from the front. God does smile on you. Oh, come on. And then you sort of throw it in his face. I still need to up the idle a bit, I think. And I've even learned which way the indicator goes.
As you've seen, it was a bit of an eventful ride, but I got to where I intended to and I got back. My wife said to me, first time you've not had to push a bike back that you've been working on like that, so that's a good thing. The three things that were a problem with the first trip out were still a problem really with the second. The noise that was worrying me the most turned out still to be where the chain is still touching that plate. I should have took another centimetre or two off it next time, make sure there's plenty of safety. Gear change is still an issue. I've got a workaround. If there weren't other issues I'd probably live with it for a little while, but I have got an idea of how I might solve that in a very, very good way actually. So that's for, you know, for the future. The throttle response, well, I still have the throttle not 100%. and getting the tick over right is going to be an issue. I think it needs a good warming up before I set off, rather than worrying about it along the way. I'd obviously set it too low, adds a bit of excitement when your engine's cutting out when you pull up the traffic lights and things, but in reality I'd rather it just kept running. I think I'll be able to solve that, but actually when you're running along, and I know I haven't gone very fast, the throttle response is very good. I'm surprised there's not more of a hiccup there, and I'm sure I'll find more as time goes on. So anyway, another couple of weeks I think it might be before I've got it out again, because the weather's taking a bit of a downturn, so I believe. So if you want to see what happens, subscribe. Go and look at our other playlists. You know, I've done some interesting things with similar bikes before. Anyway, thanks very much for watching.